Yeah, who's got the radio?
Just mute them in turn and find out.
I don't know who's got the radio on. I don't.
If you mute everybody one by one, you'll find out.
Yeah, okay. First, I'm going to make you a co-host.
I don't want to.
Somebody turned off the radio now.
Do I want to be co-host?
Well, you have no choice. Just in case.
I
You won't have
forgot-
to do anything.
I
Only if
forgot
there's
the
power.
dictatorship this year.
No, the thing is, nobody has had to do anything because they're co-host. I don't think that has happened yet. So Angel is the only one mute, and Jean-Michel are muted. No,
not
so
anymore.
now Jean-Michel is muted. So that's where the radio was then, probably. Anyway, doesn't matter. Good. Let's start tonight and welcome you all to this monthly fellowship assembly of the Rotary Club Canada 1. And today is special because we're going to induct a new member, an associate new member to our club, Angel Blanco. And let me start first with what we always do. My name is Peter Dinoy, currently president of the Rotary Club Canada 1. And you will see my surroundings are a little different today. That's because I'm on the balcony of our new apartment. On the weekend, we moved, or this last week actually, and the actual move took place on Sunday. And this is the only safe haven part that is kind of organized to sit at this moment. But there's boxes, there's furniture. We still have to determine how we're going to arrange all the furniture because it's a bit smaller than what we had. But otherwise, things are the same.
So did you move across the street or across the country?
No, 6 blocks down the street. We're just 6 blocks down because the owner of the house told us that as of December 1st, we had to be out of that apartment, and because she wants to move in there, do my renovations, I guess, and want to move in there herself. So we were notified of that in June, and that's fine. And we found this place. It's actually new. It's an older building. It was a grain storage facility, and the guy built several apartments in here. So it's good. Everything is new where we are. So that's good. So we're working on that. Ali and Ramiro, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Ramiro.
You can speak English or Spanish. We don't care.
You have Angel there. No, Angel.
Angel, you got it.
That's okay. They don't know how to pronounce Osuyos either. Okay. Well, my name is Ellie Gutierrez. I am a charter member of this club, and I live in beautiful Osoyos that has been raining most of the day.
Oh.
Which is okay.
Good, thank you. David, please.
Yes, I'm David Ware in Cochrane, Alberta, charter member and past president and past treasurer, etc., etc.
Past everything, just about.
That's right.
Thank you, David. Jean-Michel.
Yes, I'm the guy with the radio who's far away from me, but somehow it gets transmitted here. Anyway, it's Jean-Michel Cotin from Rotary Club, charter member, and presently treasurer.
In Calgary.
In Calgary, sunny Calgary.
All right, excellent. Welcome, Jean-Michel. Kitty.
And I'm Kitty Butchko, currently in Sarnia, and I am an associate member of this fantastic e-club.
Thank you.
And it's Angel, is that how you say your name, Angel?
That's fine, yep.
Angel, so it's an H, Angel.
Okay. No, it's not. No, it's not an A.
No, but I met a Spanish woman, Ligia.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know
And
that sound is difficult.
well, that was a G, but Lihia. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Say Angel.
Good.
Angel.
Yeah.
Hello,
perfect.
Tammy. Are you back in Alberta again?
No.
Tammy, are you
Not
back
here.
in Alberta? Can you introduce yourself, please, Tammy?
Maybe she's moving.
She's on.
She is moving, yes. But
Way up.
She's
Tammy,
busy.
hello,
She's way up north.
Tammy.
She's frozen.
She doesn't know what's going on. Can you hear? Can you see? Can you hear? Well, Tammy, when you introduce yourself, please. Or you have a bad connection.
Yeah, she said she's already there.
I think that's probably it, or not?
She's in
Tammy?
Alberta.
Okay, we'll jump over to Jim. Jim Canyon, can you
Yes.
introduce yourself? You're just in time.
I'm just in time. Jim Kenyon. I'm in beautiful downtown Whitehorse, Yukon.
All right, welcome. And Tammy, have a chance now? Hello, Tammy?
Hi, finally got on.
Oh,
You're
oh,
something.
you're twice on here now.
Oh,
Oh, okay. I'm not sure which one I am.
Right now you're at, says WAUYA.
Okay, well, we'll leave that one because that's the one that seems to be working.
Yes.
I'll try to disconnect the other one.
Can you tell us who you are, where you are?
I am in Alert Bay, BC. That's a island off of the north corner of Vancouver Island.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
my daughter
are you-
just got posted here.
all right. Fantastic. Great. So we will proceed with Ellie, who is sponsoring Angel, to introduce him prior to doing the induction. Ellie, please.
Thank you, Peter. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce Angel Francisco Blanco. Many of us have met Angel during his attendance at several of our fellowship events, and we're looking forward to further involvement. Angel is a member of the Rotary Club of Majadahonda in Madrid, Spain, where he's been involved in various activities. And I won't tell you anything more, but he's got some interesting stories to tell. But since he's doing his classification talk as well tonight, I will leave him up to share the rest with us. So I am his sponsor only by default because Angel contacted me as membership chair. So that makes me the sponsor.
Obviously, very good.
Pleasure.
Yes. Thank you very much. And so I would like to do things a little different. Angel is already a Rotarian. We don't have to, things that the current Rotarians have committed to and are doing is continuing, obviously, for those that become associate members, especially with our club. So what I want to do is I'm going to quote one of my favorite past presidents of Rotary International, Cliff Docterman. And just about everybody knows who Cliff Docterman is. I had the pleasure of actually meeting him in person at the New Orleans convention in 2011. And I got a chance, he was presenting to one of the events, and I had a chance to chat with him and got his book from him as well. And I invited him after that to come to Edmonton, to Edmonton to participate at Rotary Day to see, especially talking about wheelchairs, because he is in a wheelchair and that is close to his heart. But unfortunately, after he thought about it, he, in his very nice way of putting things, said, I don't want to risk my life in Alberta in February because I no doubt the roads will be so slippery that I will be on a stretcher, never mind a wheelchair. So, but I, from time to time, I, find some nice things in his book, and as part of the induction of Angel in our club, I like to talk about a real Rotarian, because if you become an associate member of a other club, I think you will be getting close, and maybe you are already a real Rotarian. And joining a club is easy, but becoming a Rotarian is something that comes afterwards. And so a real Rotarian is a person who takes special pride in his or her business or profession. You can count on them to be fair and honest. Their word can always be depended upon. They are always willing to step forward when help is needed. They will always show up at the club functions. They give support to the Rotary Foundation every year. They give encouragement to the club president and the committee leaders who are doing their best to make the club interesting and live and relevant. That is a real Rotarian. And we may get into that later tonight yet for all of us to say, well, have you had that experience? And say, when did you become a real Rotarian? I know I did, and I know when. And we can talk about that later. But like I said, with that, Angel, I'd like to officially make you a member, associate member of the Rotary E-Club of Canada 1. Your classification of engineering will remain obviously the same, and you will be part of the Project Services Committee under the chairmanship of Jim Canyon. So here's the certificate. It shows you can take it. You don't have to copy it. We'll get it to you some other way. And I'd like to officially welcome you to our club. Angel, thank you so much. Let's give him a hearty welcome.
Thank you very much, guys, to all of you.
Pardon me? Okay.
Welcome.
And so,
Congratulations.
and I think it is nice when we have experienced Rotarians that are aware of classifications talks are. That's when I thought, okay, maybe I will get him to do his classification talk today. And he has agreed to that and has prepared all that. And so I would like to give him the floor so that he can give his presentation, and then we can have questions and some more discussions after that. Tammy, can you stop sharing? And Angel, you can start whatever you like to do.
All right. Anyhow, thank you very much for welcoming me aboard your club. And thank you, Ellie, for the nice presentation or classification speech that you made that is being used as a model for mine. You were wondering some meetings ago who looked at yours. Well, I was the one. Anyhow, without any further delay, I think we better go. I made a small presentation so we can see it and we can talk it over as it's coming around. So let's see which one is going to be that one. Okay, is it on your screen now? Hello?
Yes, yeah, it's good.
Okay, so that's the front speech is really nothing to talk about. Let's get to the next one. Well, I was born in 1955, so it was a wonderful year, wasn't it? Those were my parents, who honestly, I don't know whether they were or they weren't expecting me, but the truth is that between my brother and I, there's a difference of 12 years. So whatever it was, like it or not, I'm on my way. And there is some of my younger ages. When I was a little brat, I'm sure my parents, they loved me for that. Eh? Most of the time they probably say, well, well, and then the time passed slowly until 1975. You know, I did the high school and the elementary school, senior high, junior high, like all most of the kids. I went to college, I went to the Autonomous University. This is our emblem. And this is the faculty which I assisted to. Curiously enough, I ended up on 1975. I don't know why, but most of the people, they are about 2 or 3 years that they mark a difference in their lives. To me, 1975 was one of them. A lot of people, they remember that year as the year our dictator passed away. No, for me, curiously enough, 75 was the year in which I finished university, graduated from the Autonomous, and I made the application for my permanent residence, my landed immigrant status in Canada. I made that in 75. Actually, it was in July. It finally came approved, and I moved to Canada in February the following year. So 1975, you can imagine, it was a very important year for me from both aspects. Canada not only has seen the starters of my professional career, it has reached seeing its full potential. Yeah? Now, back in 76, you know, I'm a 20-year-old guy who arrives new in Canada with all sorts of illusions and things to go, and lands a job on a pharmaceutical company. Well, you would say, a chemist on a pharmaceutical company? The dream come true. What else could be better? Wrong. Wrong. One of the things I did have ever since then, I wanted to have the freedom to do things as I would see appropriate. Now, obviously, the pharmaceutical industry is not the industry to do that. The things in the pharmaceutical industry have to be done that way because of the nature. You expect that an aspirin is going to be an aspirin today, and the same aspirin tomorrow and next month. So there cannot be no different things to be tried. So along came this company, British Plasterboards, and who offered me a job. And I was up to the end with the pharmaceutical company, and I said, a gypsum company. Why does a gypsum company need a chemist for? But anyhow, the pay is good, the hours are good, I'll take the job. Well, good. I got the job. But very soon, I fell in love, not so much with the company, which I worked for them for about 10 years, but with the industry itself. Now, I had a 30-year relationship already with what I said about the gypsum crystals. I don't know if any of you have any knowledge of crystallography. This photograph is the raw gypsum crystals. That's how as you see them in nature. Obviously, you don't see them. You need a microscope to see it. But anyhow, this is the material that chances are you see it in the lumberyard. And these are the 3 big names that appear on my work history. So, what did I do in the gypsum industry? Well, from the time I landed in Mississauga, they offered me the first job. When I was a research technology, they moved me over to Calgary. Westrock, quality control. Most of you guys in Calgary, if you've been around the Ogden area, just behind the CP yards, you've probably seen it. I was working quality there, quality control there. Then I had a small difference of opinion regarding the Olympic Games and the service to the Olympics. And I ended up leaving their employment and going to work for Domtar in Caledonia in the engineering department as a materials specialist. At that time, I already had about 10 years experience. So I was starting to be a valuable asset. Now, then about 3 years later, when I got married, my job when I was in Caledonia, it was to provide process service to all the company plants. So I was traveling about 3 or 4 weeks sometimes out of the month. Now, if you are newly married, being out of the home for 3 weeks out of the month, 3 times a month, is not a good idea. So I asked and I got accepted to move as a quality control manager in Edmonton. Then, sure, the guy Dontar, the name Dontar is probably very familiar to most of you guys, since you are, okay, all Canadian, and Dontar it's been a household name for a long time. The thing is, Dontar Gibson got into economic problems and ended up being purchased by Georgia Pacific, okay? The ones that you guys are living in Edmonton, the plant that we have at the 403 Avenue, you probably noticed it was Georgia Pacific for a long time. Then after that, when the Americans, they took us over, they saw me an asset that very few other people did have, is that if I were to service the other plants, if I went to go into a Canadian plant, I was a Canadian. But if I were to go to an American plant, they wouldn't see a Canadian. Chances are they would see a Spaniard. He said, in actual fact, you'll have an easier entrance than any other Canadian. So they actually moved me to the engineering offices in Decatur to be the senior process control engineer. And after that, a year and a half after that, I left the United States and Canada. I moved over here to Spain, and then I became in Pladur, which is a company of the same industry, where I became the plant manager. Now, what did I do with those times as big ticket items? Well, plant startups. From a startup, from scratch, from just having a lot to having a plant that you can have to get going. 3 of them. The Calgary plant, the ones of you that they are from Calgary know that that plant started around 1980, something like that. We had an old plant in the 26th Avenue in Southeast. I started also a high-speed plant in Boston, and I also started the one here in Spain. Mothballing. Mothballing is the process when you have a running plant that you don't want to have in operation anymore, but you want to keep it so you can use it later if you need to. So you just cannot simply just flip the switch off and walk away. When you shut it down, you have to shut it with perfect care, with all the motors taken care and prepared and sealed so you can restart it at any time in the future. I did that with 2 plants, one in Saskatoon and one in Colorado Springs. And then I restarted one of those plants that got mothballed, the one in Sweetwater. Now you can basically see that I've been moved around Canada and the US quite a bit. And my family life. Life says that, hey, man doesn't live by bread alone, no? So I need to find a girl. And I did find a girl here in Galicia. I did say that, hey, it's very romantic here, what it says here, you know, man does not live by bread alone. I just let you know as a secret. The real thing is that I was here on holidays and I wanted to buy some bottles of moonshine. That means it's grappa. And my mother-in-law sold me the 2 bottles, but they charged me a lot of what I felt it was a lot. So I decided that instead of the grappa, I would take the grappa and her daughter. Anyhow, we got married in 1993. She got the landed immigrant status right away and her citizenship about 3 years later. And we have 3 siblings or 3 children from that marriage. This is the oldest one, which is an engineer. Right now, it's an electronic engineer. And the daughter is Catherine. She's a pedagogist. She works with the children that need special attention. And the youngest one, Michael, he's a network administrator, and he's working also for a Canadian company now, Equinix. Now, what did I do as volunteer activities? Actually, when I moved to Canada, I was too young, and being in a new country, is limited what you can do. Now, I did a lot of fundraising activities at church. I did work in a lot of bingos. I even organized some casino nights. We made the breakfasts after masses and so on. I've been a member of the Knights of Columbus in 1986. Perhaps this is the biggest volunteer activity that I have undertaken. I was in the Olympic Winter Games in Calgary. Here I was a lot younger. I did have a mustache and my hair was a lot blacker. But anyhow, and a lot younger. I'm very well surrounded, by the way. And in Rotary, what I do in Rotary? Well, I heard someone commenting that everyone is a Rotarian, really. Everyone in the world is a Rotarian. The only thing that happens that person just doesn't know it, but he's a Rotarian. Now, it is true for me. My brother went to Canada about 1 year before I did, and he had a lot more contacts with the Rotaries and the Masonries in Brampton. I knew a lot of Rotarians then, but when you are new, and you're young. You have other things that they are more interested and they are more important than worrying about trying to join a non-profit organization. So I let it go for the time being. But my first official contact with the Rotary Club here was in 2004. I mean, here in Spain, I don't have the excuse. First of all, I'm semi-retired. Second, I'm very well established in the country, like it was in Canada, so there is no excuse not to officially join a Rotary Club. That's what I did in 2014. I have been the club treasurer for 2 years. I have participated in the activities of the club, like the Rotarian Forest, which is a project that we have. There is a photograph in the next slide, and the food bank. We have coordinated what we consider the star project for the club, which is this one. This is our star project, the Rotary Youth Camp. Now, this year, it was, there weren't that many people, that many youngsters coming in. There were 19 people from 17 different nationalities. Actually, this year, it was the first time we had someone from North America. We had a little Mexican girl coming and joining us. And this is what we do. We have a Paul Harris statue in one of our parks in Madrid. We have a dedicated Rotary wheel to it. Now, and then we have the Rotary walks. We have our summer night, usually in the house of one of our members. We just get together and we just have a nice dinner. We have one of our biggest projects as well is what they call the Rotarian Forest. It's in the northeast of Madrid. We just simply go one weekend a year, and we go, each one of us plants a tree. So far, we've been doing that for the past 20 years. So it's a fair nice bunch of trees over there. And that's about me. So I hope that you have enjoyed my classification. That's me, the way I look now, not as it was during the Olympic Games. And I hope to see you very soon here. With all that, you have any questions to ask me?
Okay, anybody has any questions for Angel? Okay.
Who is the statue?
Woody Allen. No Woody Allen. Come on. The Irish. No, this one is Woody Allen. Woody Allen. What am I doing?
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions for Angel? So,
how many members are there in your club in Spain, Angel?
At this point, 28.
28.
we have one member which is under a special situation that has really no classification, but we maintain her as a Rotarian because, first of all, because she's one of the oldest ones in the club. She's about 90 years old, and you know, for us it's an honor to have her on board. So we are not charging us any fees or anything like that, but you know, we do consider her a Rotarian. So it's 20,
Okay.
it's 28,
So
28 plus one honorary.
Okay. And so where is Las Rosas?
It's 26 kilometers from Madrid. Eh?
Okay.
You are in Madrid, you get to the airport. Now, the airport is located in the northeast. I'm located in the northwest. You have the roads. Okay, let me see if I can get the map. Okay, Rozas de Madrid. And wow, start the note. There it is. Share it.
So, Ileana's sister lives in Guadalix. Is that close to where you are?
Relatively close.
Yeah, we missed you.
Can you?
We were there a few years ago. Maybe some other day.
Can you see it now? Can you see the map now?
Well, we're not sharing. You're not sharing the screen.
Oh. What am I doing? Oh, there. Now you see it, right? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
This is La Rosas. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Huh? Okay. Now that's where Madrid is. San Agustín de Guadalix is on this road going up. Huh?
Okay.
Right there. Right.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I see it. Okay. So that's not too far.
So it's relatively close. For example, the thing is, if you are living around this highway, which is the A6, all the public transport, it runs on the same tracks and on the same roads up to this town, which is Collado Villalba. And here, then it fans out. The problem here going to what San Sebastián de los Reyes, Tres Cantos, y San Agustín de Guadalix is that they start separating right from Madrid. So whereas, for example, I have train, like the GO train, it runs for me every 10 minutes, and I have bus going into Madrid every quarter of an hour. If you are on this area, it's only every half an hour or so.
Awesome. So what different kind of products do you produce?
What they produce in Madrid? Well, let's start with what the kids they work on. The oldest one they works for CAF is a company that works for the high-speed trains, works for Alstom and Bombardier. Anything if you're taking a train to go for anything above 250, 300 kilometers per hour, chances are you've been riding in one of these trains governed by a system controlled by a company my son works for. Then there is here in the south of Spain, we have a division, an assembly plant from Airbus, actually, and a manufacturing part of Airbus as well that makes the landing gears for the 380s. A company that has been sold to a Canadian company now. We make cars here in Villaverde. Basically, Madrid it's a very industrial area. The only thing that Madrid doesn't want is dirty industry. For example, Madrid has engineering, Madrid has offices, Madrid has sales, service. But for example, the company I worked in Valdemoro. That was a manufacturing facility. With us, they were happy. but they didn't want us to operate the mine. For example, our mine was straddling between the communities of Madrid and Toledo. Now, we had to operate it in Toledo. We couldn't operate it in Madrid. It's the same thing that, for example, if you are there and your mine straddles between British Columbia and Alberta, then the government of British Columbia says, no, you cannot do that because of the environment. And Alberta says, hey, it's money coming in, let's reel it in. Well, it's the same thing here in Madrid. Madrid likes clean industry that generates a lot of money. They don't want anything heavy. Anything else?
I was told that the Rotary Club of Madrid was closed when General Franco came to power. Were all the Rotary clubs in Spain closed at that time?
Yeah, yes. Okay. The thing is, and there is a lot of rumors going around what happened on Franco's time. The truth is that there was no Rotary, there was no Lions, there were no Masons, they weren't and they aren't any Knights of Columbus. So all these type of brotherhood associations, they were forbidden. Now, the rumor runs it, is that Franco intended to join the Masons at one point, but he got turned down. As a consequence, being the almighty, powerful dictator, he said, that's it, these guys, they are not here. And the rest of us as a consequence. Furthermore, here in Spain, they have a little bit of a confusion because they see Rotary as the little brother of the Masons, which is totally incorrect, but that's the way they see it. And you know, when we consider that my brother was a Mason and knowing a little bit about them, you know, sometimes I just get a laugh when I hear talking, being inside Rotary and knowing what the other ones are like. I said, you don't even know what you are talking about. But anyhow, Spain, they feel they have a lot of work to do on that one. But no, during Franco's time, there weren't any Rotary clubs here. They started after Franco, and they started one in Madrid. And we have in our club, we have one of the members that started that back in 78, I think it was. But no, it was a strange situation.
So do you have any young members too? Or are you struggling attracting young members?
Our president is 30 years old.
Well, that's enough.
We do have one of his friends as well that joined a year ago, who is also about 32, 33. And
good.
then we jump to the 50s. But no, young people, we basically have two of them, and we're working on it, but they are difficult to get them to join. Yeah?
The same issues everywhere. Yes. Any other questions for Angel, or about anything else for that matter? Ellie.
Earlier, I had asked Angel what would be next, but the text was very broken up, so I couldn't hear what he was saying. So now you're back in Madrid, and you were saying that your kids love it in Canada. So what's the plan?
The plan is I do as they do. Let's
So
put
are
it
you going?
Right now they are living in my place. It's a house. It's not my parents' house, but it's a house that I built using the proceeds from my parents' house. Yeah? So basically, it's the family one. Yeah? Whatever they decide, if they decide to move to Canada, and chances are they probably might need support, I would be prepared to go with them. Okay? But in principle, I mean, my place is already here. Yeah? Chances are, Ellie, you know how things they operate in Holland. Between Holland and Canada, you know, there's very little difference in what regards to the life and how things move around.
Yeah.
Spain is more or less the same. But if they tell me, Dad, I got an offer to go to Canada, would you come with me? Without pain of heart, I will. My mother did, my mother did, and I would do it for them just as well.
Nice. Very nice presentation. You learned a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wants to tell us, sorry, when you became a real Rotarian?
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember, Ellie?
I remember. And you know, as a matter of fact, it was the same time that I met, now the name doesn't come, you know, ABC.
Ramiro.
No, not Ramiro. You know, the book you got. Oh,
Cliff,
my God.
Cliff Doctorman.
Cliff Doctorman. We were in Salt Lake City. I was the district membership chair, so that was 2004. Yes, thank you, David. That was 2004, I think, 3 or 4. And I was invited to the presidential conference that was hosted by Richard King. And one of the speakers, of course, was Cliff Doctorman. But there was another presentation about a school or an orphanage in Romania. And I was actually, no, it was before that. It was, you know, I thought I knew enough about Rotary, but I didn't really know about all the things that were happening outside our country. So when I heard this gentleman talk about these orphans in Romania, who were basically skeletons. They were so skinny, and they were sleeping 6 babies in one of those metal beds. I was just like, oh, is this what Rotary does? Unbelievable. So at the end of his presentation, I came to him and I said, I want to become a Rotarian. and that's when I got more involved. And then we went to Russia to a project. So that's really when it started. So that was quite a few years after I actually became a member of the club.
That was the same for me. I joined in 2001, but after my year as president at the Strathcona Club, I got involved, or during my year actually, got involved in distribution of wheelchairs. And when I went on my very first trip to deliver wheelchairs in Leon, Mexico, and we did the weekend there, giving out these wheelchairs in different locations to different people that I could not communicate with, but they were so grateful. They were so thankful. And, you know, that is when I realized, okay, this is what it's about. This is what Rotary does. And I can continue to do that, etc. So when it happens to you, you know distinctly what actually has gone through you. And for a lot of people, it is something that, you know, takes quite some time, because we think, oh yeah, we're a Rotarian, blah, blah, blah. Until you experience something like that, it doesn't really happen. And that's one of the things about going on trips, and like we'll be going, several of us be going to Guatemala, etc., and all of a sudden experiencing that kind of an environment where you know, you all of a sudden realize what this organization actually does and what it means to you as well. Anybody else want to add something to this?
I just got a message from Tammy saying that she lost her connection and she can't get back on.
Oh, dear.
I saw her poof disappear. So maybe she fell in the ocean.
Blown away by the wind.
But Jim, what about your experience in India with that? Can't hear you. No. No, can't hear you. No.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? David?
Everything's going down up north from Alert to Whitehorse.
No, that's still not. Oh, there I am.
Oh, there we go.
I just put it to the wrong microphone and it came on. IBM. No, I'm still laughing at leaving a club that met 7 o'clock on Tuesday mornings and ending up with a club that meets 7 o'clock in the morning Thursday mornings. No, the work in India. My old Terra Club, we had a number of people who joined and left very quickly. They felt that we did too much international work and not enough community. And there were a few others that left because they thought that we did too much community and not enough international. But one of the guys I traveled with in India, the way he got into it, I thought was good. He called Chicago, Evanston, Illinois, and said, "What's the funkiest, weirdest thing that Rotary does?" And with no hesitation, they said, "Oh, that would be Elias Thomas and the Dream Team in India." So I'm hoping to go back this time for number 6, but we raise funds during the year worldwide and then put it all into global grants. And we build catchment dams in Rajasthan and in the deserts. And if you think you've seen poverty, you ain't ever been to Rajasthan. It is just really quite amazing. To have some of the people, a single project or a single dam that will raise the water table up to 200 feet and all of a sudden take the water pressure off of 65 to 70,000 people in one dam. That is something. We did one, actually that one wasn't a catchment dam, that was a reservoir. And I walk with a cane, usually, especially over there. And there was an older fellow, I have to be careful when I say older these days, who also had a cane. And I sort of saluted him with my cane, and he came hobbling over, threw his arms around me, and started crying. And in perfect English says, "You have no idea what you're doing for this village." Paid for the trip. In one motion, it paid for the trip and became a Rotarian. The last time I was over in southern Rajasthan, I was getting a heat stroke and I had to go back to our little tent encampment. And the local chief of police came over and I thought, okay, what have I done this time? And same thing, threw his arms around me and he said, "In this village, you people are gods." Paid for the trip again. You know, it's just amazing what we can do. I brought over, and Angel, you'll appreciate this as an engineer. We had a mechanical or civil engineer from Alaska join us. And he was nothing but critical from the time we started till the time we got there about what sort of engineering studies and environmental studies. Well, when we got there, it's desert. There ain't no environment, it's desert. And Rick, the engineer, confronted one of the family of 5 that we work with over there, stonemasons, et cetera. And basically said, "Well, you have an engineering degree." He said, "No." "Well, what sort of training do you have?" And he smiled and he said, "My family has been doing this for 5 generations. Not a single dam has failed. I think we know what we're doing." Once we finished the dam, Rick looked at it and said, "We did this for $53,000 US. That project would cost over $5 million if we did it in Alaska." And in fact, the last time I was over, we raised the money and Australia, one of the district governors came in and said, "That's nice, save it for next year. We're paying for the dam this year." And they wrote a check for the whole thing.
Well,
and the district governor came over and slid rocks with us.
Yes,
So,
awesome.
if you want a good project, that's the one to get into.
There's many great projects.
There are. The other one that I got involved over there, they work, the Delhi Megapolis Club that we sort of partner with. They've identified children in the range of 4 to 7 that live in the slums. And I mean slums. These are the kids you see picking through garbage in the dumps. And while education is free in India, it's free to residents. They're migrants. They're still Indians, but they're migrants. They're not residents of Delhi. So what the club over there does is they have created 5 little schools. They have morning sessions and afternoon sessions. When the kids come in, they get examined by dentists and physicians that are volunteers. They get a lunch and a meal. They get a uniform. They get shoes, which these people have never seen. And at the end of a year, we have an arrangement where the Indian government considers that school as their residence. and they're allowed into the public education system. Last year, we transitioned 356 students into the school system. So yeah, what Rotary does is mind-boggling, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Guatemala and getting down there, guys.
Yeah, and so we, you know, because Jean-Michel go with the Calgary, but everybody will be in Antigua at about the same time, obviously, because of the fair. So Tammy, not Tammy, Vicky, planning to have a dinner with a local chef in training to make a dinner for everybody. And we can, you know, Tanya Wolf, our honorary member, will be there also. And so there will be several others, no doubt, that have a nice, you guys will have a nice Rotarian get-together of Canadian Rotarians in Antigua.
It works out that I think the flight is either 31 hours or 36 hours down there. And Tammy had made the comment that that was quite a circuit. And yeah, I live in the place where you can't get there from here, but it's a little, little bit of...
She did not mention that what I saw in your itinerary, you're only paying $127.
Oh, shut up.
Yes.
Yes. Well, when I had the clinic, the drug distribution center that we used allowed us to pay by credit card. So I used an Aeroplan card. And since we went through about $25,000 worth of drugs a month in the clinic, needless to say, I ended up with a lot of frequent flyer points.
Yeah, with the drug business, you can make a lot of money.
Oh God, yeah. It's interesting though that Anga, when you say that you don't want to go to Alberta, I take it that you don't really want to make it up into our part of the world. Is that screen sharing?
Yes.
Yes, it's good.
This isn't Whitehorse. This is Dawson City, which is about a 5-hour drive north of us. That's
I've been on the top of that hill.
Yeah, this is up there. Yeah. And the Mountie is my daughter, who went up there. She's a reservist now. And she went up on a holiday weekend to serve. And since there were a lot of tourists in town, she did it in Red Surge. And somebody shot this picture from behind her. She didn't even know about it. Yeah, this is Dawson City.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
All I have to do is figure out how to get out of this.
Oh, well, I can do that for you. Don't worry.
Okay. I'll leave that to the Zoom. There you go. Thank God for a Zoom Meister.
That's how, destroying things I am very good at. That's not a problem at all. Okay, Ali, do the promo. Nice buttons.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
No shots of the shirts?
Yeah, very good. Don't have the shirts yet, do you?
No, they'll be there.
Where are those glasses? You have those glasses?
Oh, yeah. Let me get the glasses.
These are the glasses that people will get to wear in Grand Prairie at the conference as a promo. Ramiro really needs those glasses to really see what's going on.
Oh, there you go.
Very good.
So I have to wear them all year.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that was in the fine print.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Thank you all very much for coming. This is a great time to stop. Thanks again, Angel. Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Thanks for your fantastic classification talk. And wish everybody a good evening, good night, good sleep. Angel, you can go to bed now.
Yeah.
Lovely to spend the evening with you.
Yeah. You can
It's
sleep
been awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.